Hello and welcome to episode number 31 of the People's Champ podcast. Joining us today, we have a very special Father's Day episode. So joining us is two Hearthdads themselves. We've got SchmoopieDaddy and RottedZombie. How are you guys today?
Happy to be here. Super stoked to be asked to be on a podcast where my being a father is a qualifying factor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about my Hearthstone experiences and my dad experiences and how they intersect. This will be fun. Let's do it.
Super here for it. We kicked Jordan off to make room for an extra guest, and who knows, maybe we won't bring him back.
We gave him an ultimatum. Either he becomes a dad in the next 60 minutes or he's off the podcast.
You may not quite be ready for that.
The clock is ticking, Jordan.
He starts now. Math.
I mean, you got to warm up a little bit first.
There's a little bit of a cooking period in the oven.
Yes.
They say it's 9 months. It's more like 10.
With modern medicine, we can get that down to an hour.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, good point.
So, as usual, Fish has prepared some trivia for us.
Ooh.
So, we'll have you guys go ahead and click on the question and listen to it.
Okay, so listen to the question.
Hello, Jordan and Vaapad, and happy Father's Day to everyone. My trivia question for this episode is, how many Hearthstone parent and child families do we have in Hearthstone?
That is a very interesting question.
Jesus. How many? Ugh. So, I played Warcraft 3, and I played Warcraft 2, and I've heard of the Warcraft universe. I have no idea who's related to whom in this game we play. It's all just one big pot for me. I have no idea what the answer is, besides like maybe the Anduin, Rin, and Varian Rin.
Okay.
So,
Are we allowed to group
so that's
things,
one.
So here's how it works. So we are playing against each other. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I just gave you a point. Oh,
you did. Thank
luckily,
you.
I already knew that one, but
yeah.
Luckily for you. So here's how it works. So Jordan currently has 3. I have 1. And we have yet to have a guest win. So
okay.
One of you guys will get to pick whether you want to choose first, in the middle, or last. Price is Right style. So closest to without going over.
Yeah. I see.
Yep. So here, how about this? Whoever has more kids gets to choose first if they want to do first, in the middle, or last.
I have 2.
The one, please. The honor is yours.
Okay.
Okay.
So you get to pick if you want to guess first, middle, or last.
I'll guess. You know what? On this one, I'll guess first.
Okay. And then, Rada, do you want to guess in the middle or last?
I'll go last.
That leaves me with the middle.
All right.
I totally got this.
I think so. I'm just going to say a number.
Yep.
Okay.
You can
I think
provide as much of your reasoning as you want for good content, but it'll help us. So.
I think there are 6.
Oh boy, now it's my turn. Do I think there's more or less than 6, first of all? Well, of course, as I'm doing this, I can literally only think of, 2 or 3. But that doesn't mean that there's that few.
Really struggling, yeah. I couldn't tell you, the thing that Karen Bloodhoof poops out of his death rattle is his son, his nephew, his friend. I don't know.
I think they're brothers.
Oh, see? I don't know.
I know the lore, so I can answer that question.
Some dad I am. I don't know heck about dingus. He said, sanitizing his answer.
Just to maybe make a little buffer so I don't get too destroyed. I'll say 10. Put a little gap between there.
All right, so we're going Price is Right rules. So it's the closest without going over, and you guessed 6, and you guessed 10.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 1. Just for the price.
1 to 5. Love it.
Just the Price is Right rules. Grab the bottom. Let's dredge this right up to the top.
Can I give my reasoning now our cards are on the table?
Absolutely,
sure.
Yeah.
I have
we know. All right, so you got Anduin and Varian.
Yep.
There's Jaina and her dad, who is prominent in the Book of Story stuff. So they go through some of that.
The guy.
What's his name?
I forget. Admiral something or other.
Do they need to have a card?
I think more than likely Fish counted cards.
Okay. So there's that.
Well,
there's Cariol and...
There's Garrosh and his dad.
Yeah, they're the Romes, right?
There's the Romes.
Yeah.
Is it? Garrosh and Gramash. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Garrosh and Garrosh. You were actually right. Karen Udhuth and his son
Bane.
pops out of his. Yes, because
Bane.
in lore, right? In lore, I think there's a battle with Thrall, but I forget if it's like Sylvanas or if it was whoever the warlock. Gul'dan poisons the weapon and then like gets one of them killed, and then the son's like, I must avenge you, and that's why he pops out. That's why, like, they're good job at theming a lot of the cards. That's neither here nor there. I had others. What were the others?
Egwin
Zyrella,
and
her
Medivh,
kid.
right?
What's up?
The new 5-mana legendary death rattle, the Egwin or whatever.
Yes, Egwin and Medivh. Yes.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know.
Yeah, Egwin is a really cool card because she was like, her gift in lore is like she dies, she passes down her gift to Medivh. So that's why like her death rattle adding spirit like spell damage is actually really cool and on theme.
I'm sure some of the dragons would count, like Onyxia or something.
Oh god, I didn't even think of the dragon. I didn't think of the dragons. Yeah, because the whole black flight, right? Because you've got Deathwing and then you've got Onyxia.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about who's related to whatever.
I picked 6 because I could think of at the time I could think of like 5, and I was just like, all right, there's
I'm sure
Irella
there's
and
one
her
more.
kid, though we don't have a card for her kid yet. I was like, all right, so like I can think of like 5, and then I probably missed one, but there's probably more than one. All right, do we listen to Fish's answer?
Yes, we do.
The answer that I was able to come up with is 9. Hopefully my research has not failed me too much.
Yeah. So a little bit of caveat there that it was Fish doing the research, so as well as Fish could find, which, you know, them's the rules.
So I think that means it's Shmoopy then, huh?
Yeah. I missed it by 1.
And because I am also a guest, that means I am also the winner.
Yes. Yes. So you guys have moved into a tie for second with me against Jordan.
Yes. Very good.
Jordan went on a 3-win streak to start off our trivia, so the rest of us are just playing catch up.
Oh, yeah.
He'll regress to the mean. Don't worry about it. He'll regress to the mean.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so time to get on to the bread and butter of our content today.
Delicious.
So, basically, I guess how I want to start for this Father's Day episode is kind of just talk about your kids to whatever level of detail you're comfortable with. I'll start. So I have one daughter. She is 16 months. Hold on, is it June? Like 16 or 17 months, something like that.
You're going right through it then, aren't you?
Yeah.
She's full of energy for sure.
Uh-huh.
And so, as many people who know me know, her name is Luna, which, if I can point on camera, is right behind me.
Oh, yeah. Is
Yeah.
she a star? She's going to be a stargazer.
I hope so. That'd be sweet.
Uh.
So, cool story about that. So, my fiance and I, very early on, before we knew the gender, we had already decided on a boy name. And we really liked it, but we could just not make any progress for a girl name. And so we were looking for literally anything. So I kid you not, I went through Hearthstone's collection manager and just wrote down anything that didn't sound ridiculous. And
Boy names?
For girl names.
Oh, for girl names.
Because we couldn't decide on one. So I wrote down anything that didn't sound ridiculous. And I was like, huh, okay. And so I brought Luna to her, and my fiance is a huge Harry Potter fan.
I was going to say, that's the right factor.
Yeah, so then she's like, yeah,
perfect.
Luna Lovegood. I'm like, yep. And she's like, it's a Hearthstone card, isn't it? Yep.
All right, so you have to confess, was the name you picked out for the boy Antonidas or what?
No, it was pretty generic. It was Benjamin. So
Yeah, that's a good name.
yeah.
Named after Ben Road. Got it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so I mean, and we've got a cool thing, and all of the people from dad's side, or my fiance's dad's side, they all have 2 middle names. So it was going to be like Benjamin Michael Joseph, and then our last name. It's pretty generic guy name, cool guy name, but and then a little bit more flair for the girl name.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, sweet.
So obviously, don't have to share as many details as I did. I'm going to be cutting out the name I said, but
Beep.
yeah.
Just beep it out.
Yeah.
Well, you have 2 kids. You want to go first, Shmoopy?
Sure. So I'm probably going to call my kids Shmoopy and Smooshy.
Okay.
And the story behind that was when my wife was pregnant with my son, we were looking through names in a baby book, but it was kind of an outdated baby book, and it was the one that my wife's sister had used. And so, have you ever been like in the car driving, and your significant other just happens to read something and does that like snort where like you
Yeah.
know they have found something funny?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay,
Oh,
I know she's reading the baby book. Tell me the name, babe. She's like, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, lay it on me. She goes, Shmoopy. I'm like, come on,
What?
Shmoopy. So I'm like, okay, that's it. That's the kid's nickname from now on. So in utero, my son's name was Shmoopy. And actually, when I ended up getting into Hearthstone, which is another like somewhat humorous story where I caught a kid in my class playing it on his phone. I was kind of watching over his shoulder and he was so engrossed he had no idea I was there.
Did
And
he
I was just like,
miss
oh, this looks kind of fun. Why aren't you doing my work, Bill? His name wasn't Bill. But, I ended up signing up kind of to figure out, that looked pretty cool. Maybe this kid, I play the game a little bit. I can make a connection with this kid and I can get him to do more work. I had a traditional username that I used a million times in a bunch of other video games. And I decided this one time that I was like, you know what? I'm a dad now. I'm a nerd gaming dad. I might as well reflect that. So I picked SchmoopieDaddy as my tag. And now, unbeknownst to me, that it was catchy enough that like people would kind of remember it, latch onto it, and now I've got a reputation of a goofy name that I have everywhere now on the internet. And Shmoopy for my Smooshy for my girl. Shmoopy is now 4. I started Hearthstone when he was, I think, 8 months old. I now have a girl that's a little bit behind yours. But my girl is, I guess she's 14 months now.
Okay.
She's only a couple months behind your girl. So she's got she's trying to talk. She's half walking. I'm her chaperone. She can walk on her own, but it's a lot faster with Daddy's hand.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
yeah, it is.
leading her around. Right,
That's
but
so
she
sweet.
signs so well because we do a little bit of like ASL, like these videos that teach them like basic ASL.
Yeah.
So, she does like the more, and she does the milk, and thank you and please. All done. Well, no, all done. Usually she just throws stuff. We're working on all done. And
Comes
the
in
biting.
time. That one comes in time.
And the biting when she doesn't want you taking something from her.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my kids, Shmoopy and Smooshy.
How old is Shmoopy, did you say?
Shmoopy's 4 now.
Oh, okay.
He's I did not like 3, but 4 is better.
No. 2 was hard. 3 was hard.
3's horrible.
4 was better. 5 and 6 have been great.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for 5 and 6. I know I shouldn't wish time away, but like at the same time, like, the kid didn't sleep.
I hope
the night.
that you get to enjoy
For
the
a year
time,
and a
but
half.
I'm good for the next. Yeah. God, I remember being there. My daughter's 6, and I vividly recall points in my life where I was where you are, where you were. And now she's in kindergarten, and it's really something. Fun fact, the elementary school she attends is the one that was attended by our community's own EPT Hopper.
Oh, nice.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. We got to talking. He and I talk periodically, and that was discovered at some point in the conversation, and it was very amusing to me.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, but she's great, and I love being a dad, and I love being her dad. I didn't at first, kind of like I didn't love Hearthstone at first, but like a child, Hearthstone is a lifestyle thing,
True.
and you just sort of keep investing in it, and eventually it rewards you somehow.
Yeah.
Takes your sleep.
Yeah, it takes your sleep, takes your money, and when I'm older, we'll take my kidney. Oh, wait,
You only
no.
need one.
Am I supposed to get her kidney, or am I supposed to give her mine? Because mine's worse than hers.
I think she can donate when you need one.
So I better start putting some miles on that.
Yeah.
And my liver.
Yeah, honestly, that's like
Yeah.
that's like given. That's like part of your right as a father.
And I say I love being a dad, and I love playing games, I should say, with my daughter, since it's kind of like it seems like a natural topic to discuss here. My girl's old enough now where she and I can play Hearthstone together, and although she doesn't like quite understand some of the more like advanced mechanics and rapid fire stuff of the main game, she's really into Battlegrounds, which I don't want to say is more simplistic, but the turns are far more straightforward and like each other, so she can follow it a lot more readily. And
there's a lot of time
yeah.
between turns too, right? Like there's
Yeah, so she and I can talk through stuff. Like if I do my turn in the first 20 or 30 seconds, then we have another minute or so where I can explain to her what's happened, and she can ask me to buy this or buy that or do this or do that, and she digs it. She doesn't fully understand it yet, but she's starting to get there, considering that she's already playing like games like Super Mario Odyssey and all the Pokemon stuff. I would only say it's a matter of time. If I'm still playing Hearthstone in a few years, I wouldn't be surprised if she is as well.
Sure. I started weaving it into like our bedtime routine. Well, I didn't start weaving it in more. Shmoopy started weaving it into our bedtime routine. He's like, "Dad, can I help you play a game?" And I forgot how it started, but I was just like, "Yeah, all right." One day I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Yep.
And his numbers are really good. He can count up to 100. He gets lost a little bit, but like for the most part, he knows what's going down. Like he knows all the numbers between 1 and 100, and he'll put like 70% of them in the right order. So we'll take those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we'll sit, and I play primarily on my phone. So I wouldn't be able to play Hearthstone if it wasn't mobile friendly. Like I wouldn't be a part of the community. It wouldn't be a game I played. That's like I think the reason why it's become my game now, and not just like a game that I play on the side as a main game that I play, and then I play something else. Like I can't play anything else because unless it's on my phone, I can't play it. But I'll show him a hand. It'll be my turn, and I'll tell him what number mana card to play, and I might like poke it to make sure he understands which card he's supposed to play, because order of operations can be important.
Still working on that.
We might have missed lethal once in a game where he was requesting, "Oh, let's play Shaman Priest." He means Shadow Priest, but he hears my wife rage at Shaman, and he hears my wife rage at Shadow Priest. So he merged the two,
all the rage into one deck
together into Shaman Priest. So he's like, "Can we play Shaman Priest?" I was like, "You know what? They buffed the weapon. I've been waiting to play a list with the buffed weapon from China or something like that. It's great. Let's do it."
Oh, the needle?
Needle.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, "Okay, buddy." And it was actually, we had to like play the needle first and then play the shadow spell. And he played the shadow spell first. And I'm like, "Oh, buddy." So he's not good. He's not good on the coordination yet of like dragging and clicking. Like we tried to play like a Quest Hunter game once, and it was like, it was really stress-inducing.
No.
I'm like, "Okay,
no.
face," and he's like getting close. And then,
almost there though. Nope, on the minion.
And he hits a minion. I'm like,
Yep.
"All right, dude, it's like..."
Gotta go higher than that.
It's like, "Dude, we have lethal. We just have to hit with one of these 3 spells. There's 4 minions on board. Just don't hit all of them. Just hit the face once."
I love to an outsider's perspective. That's like actual BM. It's
dude, we were in the middle of a cute lock pop off once. I'm like, for the IAPM stuff, I have to do it, right? Like I have to. And so like during the middle of a cute lock pop off, he just happened to just like feel like just randomly like clicking the screen, and he clicked "thank you" while I'm like jumping a bunch of stack against this poor questline hunter that's at like Diamond 4. It's like the 29th of the month, and this guy's at like Diamond 4. It's just popping off, "Thank you." I'm like,
No.
"Shmoopy, don't do that. That's not nice."
Shmoopy, no.
So my kid's apparently toxic as well, which is like just, all right, just throw it on the pile of like stuff that I'll have to pay for later.
Yeah.
So
like whatever.
Now, I would say that you shouldn't blame yourself, but I do.
Yeah, fair. Totally fair.
He must have left Swag's stream on one too many times when he was in the room, and he picked up some of the toxicity.
Oh no!
What's really funny is like I played Hearthstone for so long without realizing like BM was BM. Like until someone explained to me, "No, they're actively being rude to you." Then it started to bother me.
Yeah.
So like,
they're being mad to me. I'm mad now.
I could have lived obliviously that like emotes were okay. Like, because I used to like greet everybody before I started a game. Before I ended the game, I'd say "well played," and now I know like you do not say "well played" and then go for lethal, because it's just seen as obnoxious. But like that was like in the sports world, but like that's like you said, good game after every game. It wasn't a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I got my wife into playing last summer, and like she was oblivious too until the same thing where I like, "No, she's like, "Why are they taking so long to play this last card?" I'm like, "Because you're dead, and they're prolonging it. They're being rude to you." And she's like, "What?" So like, yeah,
This
it's
will
like,
not stand.
I'm just ruining psychologies all over the place.
Yeah, that's all awesome. Yeah, so I mean, we kind of started getting into it. My next question was going to be kind of, especially with you guys having slightly older kids, just like how they've started to kind of watch you guys play Hearthstone and latch onto that. But obviously, we touched on that pretty sufficiently. Unless you guys have any other stories you want to tell about that.
Well, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I remember pretty recently I was playing, and my daughter was alongside me, and I had the volume muted on my phone because she was, I don't know, doing something else. And I played out an armor vendor, and right on time, my daughter said, armor, armor, lightly used armor. And I was like, oh, you really are absorbing everything, aren't you? I've played too much Mechathune around you. Yeah, it's funny. Like, they are little sponges, and you might think that they're not paying attention, but they really are.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been interesting watching her absorb stuff, and specifically, what she picks up versus what she doesn't. I don't know. It's cute.
Yeah. I mean, for me, obviously, Luna's so little still that she's not really... I mean, she'll pay attention to stuff, but, like, when she was really little, I would, like, just so I could, like, still play, I would sit her in my lap at my desk and play. And she'd, like, track along with it, but I'm really waiting for that time where she, like, it really just, like, clicks, I'm really excited for that to happen. I, briefly, shortly after she was born, I was like, I should start an alt account for her and just, like, start collecting wild cards so that by the time she's old enough to have interest, she has, like, a decent collection. And that idea went away quickly when I realized my main account didn't have time to grow.
True.
Yeah.
It's true. I can't imagine doing an alt. Like, it'd be too time consuming. Like, I played around with it, being like, I could just try hard on EU and I could meme on NA. And it's like, I don't see that happening.
It takes a lot of time, that's for sure.
It's too much time.
Yeah.
I don't know how Hydra does it from born. Like, he's got like 6. Like, and he manages his sons. Like, but he just goes through and clears dailies. But just clearing dailies takes, like, it's got to take over an hour.
Yeah.
Got to take over an hour.
Yeah.
Well, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you interact with the game. Cool. Like, I knew somebody who, in one chat, who claimed that they had an account for each class. So they were completely free to play, but they had
But they go all in on one class. Yeah.
But they go all in on a class, and they're like, hey, I can play whatever card I want. I'm like, all right, that's a way you can interact with Hearthstone. Yeah. Sounds like a lot of management. You could do it that way.
It's really hard to interact with the community at that point, though. Can't play Born to Be Wild. Can't do tournaments.
No.
But
how old do you think is sort of the right age when a kid would like... It would make sense for a kid to really start thinking about playing Hearthstone if that's sort of ever on anyone's radar. Like, my daughter doesn't have an interest of necessarily picking it up. She knows what it is, can call it by name, and obviously knows the battle cries of certain minions. But, like, seeing her play, like, Pokemon and Mario, it's got me wondering, like, okay, when is the time that some of these other more mainstream things will be picked up by her? And I don't know. I assume she'd be ready as long as she understands, like, the mechanics of how you get stuff versus, like, okay, you obviously just can't get everything you want. There's only one whale allowed in the family, and it's Daddy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 6, 7, 8, right? Like I gotta be in that range. Like, we're talking like playing the game to a semi-functional level, right? Like, she could probably get out of the apprentice ranks and like hang out in like bronze, silver someplace, right?
Yeah,
like
just playing play, not necessarily anything more than that.
Yeah, no, that's probably at that level, especially when you got minions with no text, right? Like, and it's just numbers and it's just basic trading and like.
I mean, how long does it take you to get from, Rotted's kid's age to, Maxie, where he's like a 13-year-old prodigy, Like.
That's really well said. There are a lot of people in the community who are like teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like.
And there's us.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And you like. You have to
So,
wonder, like, I mean, maybe we should ask Maxie sometime, like, how long ago you started playing, but, like, you don't get that good at a game overnight, you know? So he's got to have been playing for a few years minimum, and
Oh yeah.
at that point.
I think he said he started playing, I think, at 10
Okay.
and, like, memed around. And then at, like, 12, he got Dark Glare. And, like, for some reason, Dark Glare clicked in his head. And then that was a deck that kind of, like, the complexity opened up the rest of the game for him.
Now he's the Pillager Rogue Savant.
Yeah, I know. Now it's like, I don't. Did you guys? Rod, you're not in this year's Born to Be Wild, right? The listener series.
No.
Oh, he made a Highlander Pillager Rogue that, like, I beat it once because I randomly milled the Pillager. But other than that, like, every time I saw him pilot it, it was like, oh, okay, like, that's consistent, I guess. Sure.
For a listener
Ow.
series, decent. Yeah.
Ow.
Jeez.
Amazing what he does.
Yeah.
I do have one Shmoopy story as far as, like, playing goes. One additional one. The other night, an opponent generated, and I say the other night, this was like a couple weeks ago, an opponent generated a Tiny Fin, and my son went, like, completely unprompted, like, oh my gosh, he's so cute!
Confirmed.
Dada, what is that minion? And, like, before he's done, like kind of like oozing over Tiny Fin, I'm playing Even Warrior, and I'm like, Rancor. And he's like, no, you should not have done that.
You're a bad man.
That was so bad.
But look how much armor we gained.
He was legit upset with me for a hot minute that I killed a Tiny Fin. And I'm like, dude, you don't, like, wow, all right. that goes down deeper than I thought it was. That's not just a meme.
Yeah, you should have let that Tiny Fin pyroblast you over the course of the game.
I guess I should have.
Tank it, slowly but surely, tank it.
I was the Meta Tyrant Even Warrior, so, like, I had it coming, right? Like,
Yes, you did have it coming.
By the Tiny Fin.
My daughter has the same problem, or sometimes if I'm playing Battlegrounds and I have, like, a token minion from tier 1 that's really cute, and she
Cute
doesn't
cat?
want me to sell it. Yeah, either the
Don't
cute
touch your
cat or
cat.
the little water droplet. She's like, no.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is an economical choice, sweetheart. No, that argument doesn't carry much water.
No, you're stuck with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is an end game comp right here. A bunch of stuff in one little kitty. She was really happy when I got a comp going with, like, Jandis and a mama bear, and then I could bounce the kitties, and so the kitties were in the thing, and then she was very happy. But that was like
Oh,
a one-time
good.
deal. I have a question of you
Sure.
guys. Being parents now, do you feel any increased responsibility as a father figure in any regard for other members in the community who might be, like, half our age, or, you know, into that zone of, like, you know, there are kids who are playing who are like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and I am at 37, and I can't help but feel like some big brotherness and all that. And I was wondering if you guys did too.
I'm 33, but my profession is teacher. So I think before I slip into, like, dad mode, I slip into teacher mode. Certainly now that like I've been around long enough that, like, Born to Be Wild, like, I'm a mod on their server now. So, like, if I see shenanigans, which doesn't happen often, it's a pretty tame server. But, like, if I see shenanigans, it's like, pop, giving you a 10-minute timeout and a little message, because this is like me not having to send you to ISS. Like, this is shenanigans I wouldn't put up with in my classroom, so please don't do them here, and we're good. Sounds good. So, like, I think I, like, even, like, the mentorship aspect, like, I think I slip into, like, teacher mode more often than I slip into, like, dad mode, right? Like, I could see, like, I could see definitely, like, going into that, but I think if I wasn't a teacher, I would end up doing that more often but I am a teacher, so it's like that's sort of my default. It's like I go into, like, profession mode, where it's like, okay, this is your day job, take care of it.
For me, I'm a little bit younger than you guys. I'm just a baby over here at 23.
You're still a dad.
Yeah.
Hey, your dad.
But so for me, I don't have, like, a lot of people that are super younger than me in the Hearthstone community. I've got got the teenagers and stuff, but kind of like Shmoopy, I my chosen profession is as a coach, so deal with kids all day, every day. So I really I don't know that I really see it transferring to Hearthstone a ton. I'm not like I'm not a mod anywhere or anything like that. But like I certainly don't like when people are just like throwing each other under the bus all the time, or like I try to like be uplifting in the community, like especially when people go after people that are super wholesome. Like anytime someone like tries to like flame Martian, I'm just like, what are you doing?
What are you doing over here?
Yeah. You could pick anyone in the community to pick on. You're gonna pick the like nicest person in the community. Like, come on now.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna have like an army of people just like, don't.
No.
Yeah.
I recently had like a little kerfuffle where somebody from another Discord had an issue with like me and how I handled something. Find me on Martian's Discord. So first and foremost, I apologize to Martian and DM. I'm like, sorry, I don't quite know who this person is yet. I'll find out, but I'm sorry this spilled over into your domain. And then later I did find out, and I said, listen, this is what happened, and so like this is what the kerfuffle about. So again, sorry that this happened. His response was, what a silly Billy. Like it was like no, it was like that's
Silly Billy.
Yeah, like he could have said it. He could have said anything. He could have cursed the guy out. He could have been like, oh yeah,
Gentleman.
whatever, what a nerd. Instead, he's like, oh shucks. Like why?
I love
why
it.
go after a guy like that?
So another kind of question, we've briefly touched on it, but like, so it sounds like Shmoopy, you started playing after you became a dad. Rotted, did you play before your daughter or after?
Well, let me think about that. I don't think so, actually, but I arrived at the game a little later than most of the hardcore people that I know. Like, a lot of the people in our communities talk about playing since like the beginning, and that's how they ended up in Wild or whatever. But I only started playing in Witchwood.
Okay.
And so that was what, like 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the end of Boomsday. I'm not long after you. I'm the end of Boomsday.
Yeah.
I thought I was earlier than that, and then I actually looked at like, no, your first expansion was Rastakhan, and nothing changed in Wild, so I didn't notice anything.
Yeah, I entered right after the start of Witchwood, and so my first real expansion was Boomsday.
Yeah, for me, I started right after Whispers, so my first expansion was Karazhan.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's fun.
Yeah, but I was still back in high school then, so safe to say, well before I was a father. So, like, I went from... In high school, I really didn't play... I mean, I played enough to clear out dailies and stuff, and I, like... I would push to try and get up to, like, rank 10 normally. I just wasn't very good, and I didn't have a full collection, so I didn't try very hard. Jordan, even back then, was the one who kind of, like, kept on pushing me to go higher. To the point where, I got to college, and I was like, okay, now I can get, like, rank 4, rank 3, whatever. And then I... Quarantine hit, got Legend for the first time when the season reset, and I just had tons of time to, like, they changed to the current system. So I got my first Legend ever April of 2020 with Odd Warrior in a meta that had Raza Priest in it. So
yeah, my first ever Legend was Odd Warrior also.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Virtual high five.
Boop.
Highlander Hunter around the same time period for the same reasons.
Yep. Tons of time and changing the system over. And then, so April 2020, that was when I got my first Legend, and we found out that my fiance was pregnant on Mother's Day of 2020.
Hey, that's
So-
nice synergies.
So
Yeah.
I had about about 9 months of being a Legend player, and then my daughter came, and I don't think I've been Legend probably since she was like 3 or 4 months old. Basically, since she's been old enough to get into stuff, I haven't been Legend. But I mean, I get close. I'm in the same boat as Shmoopy, where I don't think I'd play any Hearthstone if I couldn't play on mobile.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cause I play it on my lunch break at work, and I'll crank out like 2 or 3 games, and that'll be my Hearthstone for the day. If I'm really lucky, I'll pull out my phone after I've got her asleep next to me, and I don't dare move to go downstairs to turn on my computer, and just a couple games. I guess all that to say, for a question. Like, how has your playing habits changed over time based on like having kids versus like what age they are and how dependent they are, I guess.
I think I probably play less now than I did. Like at a certain age, it's like, all right, is Shmoopy going to eat rocks while he's digging dirt? No.
I guess I can
Is
get
he
a
looking
game
for
in.
my input at this current moment? No. Okay, I can gym Hearthstone. And I usually play like it's if you like God Warrior, I'm assuming you tend to play like more more value stuff, slower games. Yeah, I play. I'm an aggro noob, tempo player,
End it.
kind of like aggressive. Just like just send it. So like I'll jam quick games. Like today, I managed to hit legend with like 57 games or something like that using Fish Rogue.
Nice.
So like I find ways to like just get the games in, quick games, blah, 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 and then do my goofy stuff whenever. But I would say that like nap time used to be like a big grind time. All right, he's sleeping, we can grind some games, and then nap time goes away, and that's sad. The day that happens, right? The day that when they transition from like 2 naps to 1 nap, that's sad.
Oh, that's a time sink right
That
there.
hurts.
Yeah.
And then when they like give up naps altogether, that hurts more. Right, and then they don't sleep at night anyway, and that hurts as well. But like, there's definitely there's some time in like the early years where they're not sleeping at night, and it's like, well, I'm awake anyway, I can jam games, right? And you just all right, I'm half awake, that's okay, I can play Fish Rogue half awake. Lizard brain take the wheel, right? But yeah, I'd say like the nap times definitely impact how much time you can put into it. Now he looks for my input a lot more. Like there's a lot more like when we hang out. He's looking for my input. He's looking for me like to add to his story, not just like be there present witnessing it. So I don't, I'm doing a lot more of AFKing mercenaries in Minecraft.
I would say generally not really in terms of play patterns because I joined the community after my daughter was sort of past her blob stage. But there was a stretch that we all went through in our own different way at the start of the pandemic where she didn't have school anymore, and I had to watch her during that time. And so, like you guys have said, for that stretch anyway, if not for mobile Hearthstone, my participation would have been significantly lower. I mean, I have certain obligations for my work with Tempo Storm and for my other affiliations, Amberflight Gaming, etc. So I probably end up having to play more than you guys just in general. It's sort of just in a set scenario here at my computer. But I completely can echo what you guys have been saying about like naps and attention and all those factors. And I feel like now that my daughter's in kindergarten, I've navigated slightly beyond it. But then I imagine I'm also going to hit a patch soon where she's going to want to start picking up stuff like this that has more complicated mechanics. I'm going to have to be more actively hands-on with helping her learn and then helping her navigate, like, I don't know, any aspects of the games that are fine for us but might be more predatory for a child.
Yeah.
Well said. Another kind of thing that just got brought on by that a little bit. How does your significant other kind of feel about your, I mean, everyone says like work-life balance, but like, let's just for this say Hearthstone family balance, with, work off in the distance, like, okay, work takes up this much time, and then the time that's left, how do you balance it between you being a person that enjoys free time in Hearthstone versus being a family man?
I think all my wife particularly is looking for is to make sure I don't spend too much money on Hearthstone. Otherwise, I think it's just like with any gaming or luxury activity, just balance it as best you can and make sure you're not neglecting the other stuff. But it's otherwise, Hearthstone is just a game for her, I think.
Yeah, that was admitting that, like, okay, babe, I do buy expansions in Hearthstone was like was like difficult at first. It's like, okay, babe, just so you know, because like again, they had her on Born to Be Wild. It's like, okay, just so you know, they make a joke about me being a whale. This is why. But my wife actually for a while was, I'm not going to say was jealous of Hearthstone, but she was kind of like, why are you always on this game? And like she plotted in secret to start an account, get good at it, and then meet me on ladder one day as Shmoopy Mommy. And so that didn't happen, but what did happen was she did be like, all right, I want to start an account. Can you help me? So we did set her up. I think it was end of June or July. I think it was late July last summer. And I set her up, and she's not somebody who wants any input from me whatsoever, right? Like I'll give a little bit of input, but then there are some times she's just like, you're like trying to play around things, and let me just figure it out myself. So, we got her out of the apprentice rank. We got her into Wild. I gave her like a Scimitar Rogue list because it was a budget list at the time. And she ground through the apprentice rank. She got like 150 mage wins in not a whole lot of time. Now, she was breastfeeding at the time, so like she's sitting for long periods of time, not able to go anywhere. And that turned into her taking Scimitar Rogue her first full month in Wild to 4 boss battles in the Seedlog meta.
Oh, yeah.
And so she didn't hit Legend her first month in Wild, but the next month when like I gave her a real deck in Questline Pirate Warrior, she's hit Legend ever since. So like the two of us now she kind of gets it. She's like, I didn't get it before, but now I get it. So like now we'll actually give each other like climb breaks where like if I've hit Legend already, or if like we're both climbing, but like, she's making dinner, so she'll climb a little bit while she's making dinner because she's also a smorky little aggro chick. I'll take the kid, or like, I'll be like, all right, babe, I'm going to take this nap time because I want to do some climbing. She'll be like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. So it's weird now, like now we kind of vibe off a bit where like she'll be talking about it at the dinner table. She'll be like, oh man, this Strauman's freezing my board out again. To the point where Shmoopy's like repeating some of it. It's just like, not my minions, which is pretty funny. It's actually been really cool. So if you guys ever end up facing Shmoopy Mommy on ladder, that is in fact my wife, because she was ranked probably in like the top 1,000 last month. So like it's not to queue into her, or like in some months us at the same time where it's like I'll have somebody add me be like, dude, are you related to Shmoopy Mommy? Like I just played her. Like, yeah, that's my wife.
Yeah, I'm looking at her.
You, I'm sorry. She just got 1K Rogue this month. So she's got like 1K Rogue. She's got like 900 on Warrior, and like everything else 0.
Created a monster.
She's a beast. And again, she's like self-taught. She just picked it up. Where it's like I didn't think Scimitar Rogue was like an easy deck to play, but I was like, I don't know, you get the hang of it, whatever. But she's like, I don't know, sometimes you just got to prep a Scimitar, not have a spell to go with it. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm glad you know. She's like, yeah, I just got to get it going. I got to get my Dread Corsairs down so I can start dealing face damage. If it gets to turn 6, I lose. Like, oh, okay, all right. So I'll be over here if you need me. You don't. But
Woman's a natural.
Yeah. So it's pretty sick that we have that in common now.
That is family goals right there.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to be really cool when Shmoopy starts his own account and Smooshy starts her own account. You just have like 4 running around ladder.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I could see Shmoopy being a Timmy, and I could see Smooshy being a relentless tryhard like her mother.
Smooshy's going to be a Spike.
I already see it.
Spike.
I already see a Spike in the making.
Oh
with
no.
My daughter.
I can totally see that with mine.
My son has a streak, but like I see my son is very smart, but my daughter, I see a quickness there where she's just like, I'm going to get what I want. Now she's a lot more laid back than my son, but at the same point I could see her being like Sylvanas and not having any time for games. Like I will destroy you on my way to world domination.
Love that. Yeah, for me, so my fiance hasn't really played. At one point, we got her an account started, and she tried ladder. Didn't love it. Didn't really get it, and like your wife, she didn't really want my input, so she just kind of like messed around with it. Never really got the hang of it. Didn't really catch her interest super much. She tried Battlegrounds for a while, and Battlegrounds she did like, but she didn't really like tearing up. She's like, I could just buy all these minions and triple them, and like, so she would stay like tier 1 or tier 2 most of the game and get like 4th or whatever.
Dancing Daryl main.
Yeah, well, yeah. But, I mean, beyond that, I mean, she's been very helpful. Like, she knows that this is a main way that I connect with Jordan, who's my best friend IRL, and I don't get to see all the time. So, like, she's very, when I'm not working, yeah, go ahead. And obviously, having a podcast that I have to organize, record, edit, post, promote, all that sort of stuff, like, obviously that's all time consuming as well, and she's very understanding of all that. So I'm very thankful for that. It's because of the stage of life we're in, we're like saving up for a lot of goals, and like babysitting's expensive, so like I work certain times she works other times, and we're never our paths don't intersect much. So it's very hard to play when she's at work and I'm home with Luna. But today, for example, she has Wednesdays off, so I did my Born to Be Wild match like in the middle of the day today because I just happened to be home, and then I am doing this now because she's with Luna. And that obviously, like, when you do more time-consuming stuff like that, it's like, okay, then it's cutting into, together time when we're already on opposite work schedules. But it's like, one night a month that I record the podcast for 2 hours, and that's that.
Yeah, and I'm sure you set aside time for her to do stuff that she wants to do too, or that she needs to do. Like, I know my wife, likes on Friday sometimes, staying a little bit later at work because her and her coworkers go out and have a beer. And then she gets to gossip with the girls for a while, and then she gets to come home. And everybody, it's tough because once you have a kid, you don't matter anymore. You're not the most important thing in your universe anymore. And it's no, to a certain extent, nobody's going to care about how you feel. It's about your kids. So you kind of have to have some self-care. The both of you have to have some self-care and look after yourselves and have some outlets so that you can do your job as a parent to the utmost ability that you got.
Thank goodness Hearthstone's a mobile game, huh?
Right. Thank God it's a mobile game. I'm serious. I used to play console all the time, and I loved Dark Souls and Monster Hunter, and I'd grind career mode on FIFA or Madden, and I just can't play those games anymore. So it's Hearthstone. I'm all in.
I haven't been a console gamer since about high school, so I can't even blame it on being a dad. But even certain games, growing up, I was super into all the Pokemon mainline games, and I was like, oh, they made remakes of Diamond and Pearl. I loved those games. I'll maybe go out and buy them. And so I got it for the Switch. And the Switch, I mean, yeah, it's handheld, but it's you don't take it places,
No.
So most of the time mine just stays docked, and it's so hard to sit down and play Pokemon, which it never used to be, but it's so hard to just find the time. Especially when it's okay, I haven't hit Legend in a year. I'd like to try, but then it's I spend all month trying because I've got 8X and I get to Diamond 10. I'm okay, next month.
It can take a while, and the grind is not always the thing you have time for.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100%. 100%.
Especially if you're playing what you want to play, and it's a little bit of a slower situation, right? What are you trying to climb with now?
You guys are gonna laugh at me. I am playing Big Hand Shaman.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I posted the list maybe a month and a half ago. It's all I've played since. So
what is it? Big Hand Shaman.
Okay. So
no.
Sunken City, right? Sunken City. There was a 1-mana shaman card called Schooling. You play it, you add 3 Piranha Swarmers to your hand.
Yep.
So you have that, you have Ram Commanders, you have Primal Dungeoneers, you have Banana Buffoons, you have all these ways to fill up your hand. Play turn 3 Giants, turn 3 Gnolls, you have Faceless Shamblers. It's even locked but work.
Oh, this is hysterical.
Yeah.
It's an ambitious plan.
Oh.
Well, but you get the removal of Ice Fishing, Toxfin, Flurgle. You get pretty good draw, even though it's not Warlock. You get Zentimo, Wind Fury, Bananas, which is really good, even when it's not on Giant. If you do it on the Piranhas, that's 3/1/2/1/1/1. That's 6 damage, and then you do Wind Fury, Bananas, that's another 12 damage right there.
This is a Shmoopy deck. I have to find this list.
I can send it to you. So
where do you have it? I will track it down.
I'll send you the most recent version. I haven't posted it in a while. But
okay.
So as of today, I am 50 and 33.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a good win rate.
Yeah. It's higher than it should be. I think it's because of my MMR that I'm playing some slightly worse things. But it handles things like Fish Rogue pretty well, because you got tons of things to rush into the 3/1 and not take a fireball of damage from it,
Yeah.
And you've got wind chills and stuff. But yeah.
You mad lad.
I know.
Corbett didn't post it, but there was he had an Evolved Shaman list he played on stream once that I couldn't get the code. I had to take a picture of it and then reconstruct it from the image of the picture old school. But it was using like schooling and knolls to cheat out the knoll, to evolve the knoll so you get a 10 drop early. Like it was using that kind of like, I had for like very similar to what you were doing, but maybe like even, quarter creepers. Yeah, probably.
Oh, I don't have corridor creeper. That's slightly different than what I'm doing, but yeah.
Yeah, Corridor Creeper Evolved is just good, but it's going to be different because you don't run an Evolve package, do you?
I run literally just Evolve. I don't run an Evolve package per se.
No.
Because it's good with Null because it transforms it into an 8 every time.
Oh yeah,
it's good.
You can rush it in. If it survives, you have a big boy.
Yeah. It's good with Mountain Giant. You trade and it transforms into Urzil Giant, the 13 mana 8/8. It's good with the 3-drops because you've got a 2/3 and a 2/2 as your 3-drops. So like you get a 4-drop out of that. It's good tempo sometimes.
Yeah.
Faceless Shambler, if you draw it after all your big threats are gone, you can drop it, evolve it, and have a 5-drop. So
yeah, it's not bad.
It's got some applications. It's best with Null for sure.
It sounds cute. I really like it.
I know, right?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of it. I will hit Legend with it, and I will post the win rate and all that to prove, because Jordan doesn't believe it's a real deck. He refuses to believe it.
It's
even Swag. Swag took it in Legend, and he was like 50% with it, 6 and 6. Small
That's not
sample
bad.
size, but
the thing is, this meta is kind of like open where like you could hit Legend with a deck like that. Whereas like I think we've gone through a stretch where, and I post this on like my sort of like my unofficial official census report for NA. But like as I'm sort of dropping through MMRs trying to get down to the bottom of Legend, like I kind of see the whole gambit. And like when Seedlock was around, like you'd find Seedlock down in like Platinum.
Yeah.
Like bad lists, but it was there. Like I feel like this meta has been so healthy. Like the last week or so is just people between Diamond 5 and Diamond 1 pushing with homebrew, pushing with jank, pushing with old lists because they can, because like it's open enough that playing those lists doesn't disqualify you from Legend, which I think has been an issue with the last couple expansions, where it's just between like the stranglehold that Odd Hunter, even lock Pirate Warrior had on the meta, or just how good Free Shaman was at just sort of exiting, just taking out jank, or I feel like Fish Rogue has been a good top deck because not only is it counterable, but you can play a lot of goofy stuff like Big Priest and kind of like stop it in its tracks and you win. So like the meta is just so much more open. We probably could hit Legend with that deck if you just put in the time.
Yeah.
And that's really the limiting factor, right? It's like how much time can you put in with 8x? That's rough. I'd have to look that up. There is an article that Neon31 put out a while ago that was like how many games to Legend in the new system. And he didn't do it for 11x, but he did for 10x through. Basically, if here's your win rate, here's about how many games on average it's going to take for you to hit Legend. So you could probably math it out and figure out how many you'd have to put in a deck.
That's really interesting. I'll have to look into that.
I'll send you the article. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, because I actually had that thought today. I was like, man, 8x, like how long does that take at 60% win rate? And it also depends where the wins happen, right? Because if you get win streaks, it's a lot faster.
Yes.
Well, you can hit Legend with a 45% win rate and a 10x.
If you win streak correctly, yeah.
Yeah, if you hit the right, because it's just statistics. Like if you get lucky,
if your wins are spaced in the correct way.
Us dads are really relying on those win streaks to carry us.
Oh, it's so good. I love the win streak bonus.
That win streak bonus just saved me 4 games, which means I can spend more time with my kid.
Nuts to this. I'm going outside.
Right.
Rotted gets his win streak bonus right through D5.
I do.
You got it this month? I know you were a little worried about like whether or not you camped too low or not.
I mean, I'm fine. Yeah, I did. I haven't had a chance to play today, but I'm really looking forward to the mini set pieces that I'm going to try out tomorrow. We'll see what I pick.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. The cards I've seen so far are cool. There's a couple of neat decks popping up. I don't know if they're any good, but they at least look cool.
I want to
try something, yeah.
I want to try Mech Hunter with the K9atron, even though I know it's probably bad.
Ooh, Mech Hunter, that's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Little. See, I want to try it, but I also don't want to quit playing Big Hand Shaman. So
Oh, well.
That's what casual's for. Play it in casual.
it's true. That's true.
Casual wild, like I used to like think like, well, am I bothering with this? But like camping for 11x a couple months ago when I was going through it for the first time just to sort of get it. Casual wild's awesome. Like it's actually pretty fun. I can see the appeal of some people who maybe like miss an old Hearthstone wild experience, like things have sped up too much. They don't like how refined things are.
Sure. No.
Casual is like amazing for just going and just playing your jank and like, okay, so you get rolled by a meta deck once in a while. Whatever, it's casual. Just concede and go to the next game.
Yeah, you're gonna run into people playing similar levels of unrefined jank or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it does track. It has your own MMR tracking, basically. So, like, if you win too much with your jank, you will start queuing into people who are basically, taking time off from ladder to playtest stuff. Yeah.
Does anyone have any closing thoughts about Hearthstone and fatherhood?
Do both. They're good.
Do both. They're good.
They're both good. They're good.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep reiterating the point you guys made. I love the fact that I can play this if I'm at the park and my daughter's running around and she doesn't want my attention, but I just need to actually be there, parent.
Yeah.
But I can jam a couple games. It's great. I love it.
Mobile friendly is dad friendly for sure. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on and doing this. I appreciate it. And so, before we head out, do you guys have anything you would like to plug?
After you, Shmoopy.
Sure. If you want to check out my Twitter, I'm SchmoopieDaddy. I think HS on Twitter. I think I'm the only SchmoopieDaddy. So even if you spell it wrong, it should come up at some point. I don't do anything real super special. I'll give you my tales from the dumpster, whatever jank I'm playing between, either Giga dumpster down in Platinum someplace, or just like what's working between D5 and D1 at any particular time of the month. I'll give the unofficial census data of how many people hit Legend and NA by conceding to the bottom the last day of the month, just to give you a rough number of how many people there are, track interest in the game, stuff like that. But it's mostly just for fun, so that I can net deck people like Rotted sooner than Neon Sight.
I need to figure out what I'm playing tomorrow, so and I can be found anywhere at the RottedZombie Twitter. I guess I was about to say Twitch, but not anymore. Usually just on Twitter or on the bi-weekly Tempo Storm Wild Meta Snapshots.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of this Father's Day episode. If you are a father yourself, happy Father's Day. Or if you're not yet, go say happy Father's Day to your dad. And on that note, we'll head out. Peace.
I wonder if Jordan got there in the end.
We'll have to check in on him.
Bye, guys.
See ya.